you would agree that your recollection was better on that day than it is today.
Probably.
Especially in light of the fact that, as you just testified, you've had a brain hemorrhage.
Yes. You mentioned something.
That's so glorious, this whole clip. Like, you can't really correct Andy Ngo on his lies in real time. I mean, you can on Twitter, I guess. There's been times when I've just straight up, like, posted the correction to what he said, or pointed out the fact that, like, hey, did you know that the mass shooter of yesterday, the far-right extremist, actually is one of your reply guys, and then block right away. So it's really nice to see in a courtroom, not being able to see Andy Ngo, like, squirm away from this, have them actually, like, grill him on this issue, find out he actually contradicts his official statement in real time, in 4K, and then blames the whole thing on the brain bleed. Does everyone here know who Andy Ngo is? You may know Andy Ngo from the person who got a brain bleed when he was attacked by a silicone rod thrown at him by Antifa. Andy Ngo is a bit of a clown parading around as a journalist. He tries to use that to give him cover, but he's basically at his most useful to the far right, to the alt-right, to the right-wing militias, such as the Proud Boys, the O'Keefe Bears, the Three Percenters, the Boogaloo Boys, you name it. He's really good at posting people's IDs, pictures, arrest photos, names, full legal names and stuff, if he believes that they are in any way involved in Antifa, or if they're helping people involved in Antifa. He has lied many times. He's been caught many times, and he's also gotten in trouble several times for the lies that he does. He's also one of those instigator journalists, aka TMZ style, where he will go into an event and then try to create the story itself that he's trying to cover. So he'll antagonize people, he'll get into their face with cameras, or he'll straight up pretend to be a member of Antifa in order to parade around with Antifa and see what trouble he can get into. He's a very, very dangerous agitator, and the fact that, once again, he's one of those people where when you see him in the inner circles, you have to be like, there is no bar for the right. Like, the fact that you see Matt Walsh hanging out with Joe Rogan, that's fucked. Matt Walsh is an extremist. Like, that's someone who's going to the far extreme of his fucking ideology and then trying to fucking be open and proud about how extreme his hatred and bigotry is. And Andy Ngo is someone who's very dangerous because actual neo-Nazi groups like the Atomwaffen look to his research and look to his posts and look to his information in order to create kill lists, which is also very horrifying and scary. I just heard Andy Ngo lost his trial after one day against journalist John the Lefty. His defense team reached out to me because I wrote an article in 2019 about who Ngo really is. John lawyers felt it was important. A little thread. I told them Ngo is not a journalist. Journos correct their mistakes. Ngo does the opposite. His work is video lies for the sole purpose of harassing targets and instigating threats and potentially even violence. Poof. Another huge fucking L for Ben Burgess with this one, defending Andy Ngo multiple times when, you know, confronted by other people, because, like, Andy Ngo is the last person that you should ever have to defend. Same thing with James O'Keefe. That's such an important point there. Actual journalists will correct themselves on the record when they have fucked up. And that's part of it too. This is a propagandist. His only purpose is to try and sow a narrative. While at Portland State University, Ngo became a far-right cause célèbre in 2017 by distorting a talk by a student, claiming he said non-Muslims would be killed in a Muslim state. Ngo was fired from PSU newspaper and Muslim student newspaper and were subjected to death threats. It turned out Ngo is an Islamophobe. A few years earlier, he slandered a Muslim activist as an Islamo-supremacist fascist, and also wrote, "Islam needs to be neutered like Christianity." Ngo would go on to write an Islamophobic article for the Wall Street Journal about the horror of seeing Muslim women wearing niqabs in London. No one made eye contact, and which falsely claimed Muslims had banned alcohol from parts of the city. He lied there. So even in Ngo's faintest brushes with journalism, he pushed a racist narrative with incorrect reporting. I told John the Lefty's lawyers to look into the March Patrick Kimmins, who was killed in Portland police in 2018. On that date, in March, was held for Kimmins, a father of 3 kids. Media called it peaceful. At one point, protesters went through a crosswalk. They had a light. A car turned into them, hitting one protester. Video is clear. Driver committed vehicular assault. I told John's lawyer, Ngo put out a lie. He found a video clip that omitted the car driver illegally hit the protester and focused on the confrontation after. He then promoted the lie on Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. Ngo's lie was a far-right fantasy. Black-led mob controls Portland. Police are powerless to stop them. Elderly tax-paying whites are attacked by savages. More to the point, it shows Ngo is absolutely not a journalist because he was fabricating the event. The Keyman's March was Ngo's breakthrough. He got national platform to incite far-right mobs to violence. I interviewed activists who were inundated with death threats and went in hiding, even leaving their homes. Even more disturbing, violence leaped from virtual world to the real one. Since 2017, Portland cops gave far-right Patriot Prayer leeway to invade city and commit violence. Incited by Ngo, Patriot Prayer called a flash march for law and order in PDX. It led to street brawls in the bar district of Saturday night with little police intervention. Despite far-right brawlers like Tusitala, Tiny Tuizi, caught on video attacking people in Portland, there were no arrests. The No Fox News narrative has been very effective. Portland cops allow fascists, not Black Lives Matter or Antifa, to be a lawless violent mob. There was another twist during the Patriot Brawl. A leftist harassed by a woman, falsely claiming that they were a 9/11 widow. This set up a round of far-right threats. Professional skateboarders were falsely blamed. Then an adjunct professor was falsely blamed. Both were inundated with death threats. Finally, a person who made the comment was found. They were fired. If you want to, like, this Jacobin article can go through the whole thing, like the time he lied about the hammer. This one was like one of the most obvious ones that was so wild. He doctored footage, and he doctored footage almost sent me to prison for the bus Nazi incident in 2019. 3 years later, people in Portland found me not guilty. Yes, I tried asking Andy where the hammer came from because I got the impression that he knew, but he just blocked me. I'm so glad he failed to get you. So basically, someone stole the hammer, and then that's the picture in the clip that is taken by Andy Ngo, and then that's the one where it's like it's used, even though it turned out it was the Proud Boy who originally had the hammer in the first place. He sucks. He's got a long list of lies, endless lies. That's what he does, and he knows the worst. But we do have good news in this story. Breaking. Andy Ngo exposed as liar and fraud and refuses to comment if he'll keep lying professionally for profit. Retweet if you've never been attacked by a silicone rod. Today, right-wing propagandist Mr. Andy Ngo lost his criminal case against a veteran journalist whom Ngo falsely accused of robbery 2 years ago. Ngo was exposed as a liar on the witness stand in a withering direct examination by defense attorneys. Ngo's fake British accent, which seems to have disappeared once again for the purpose of this.
Mr. Ngo, you're aware that some of your reporting, some of your rhetoric online has instigated violence.
No.
You're aware that some of the people that you have posted about have received just the same kind of threats that you've received.
I'm not aware.
So you're not aware of what your Twitter followers are doing?
As you mentioned, I have over 1 million followers on Twitter. I don't read the comments from hundreds of thousands of people.
Understood. So you can't really keep track of what happens as a response to your tweets?
Not in every tweet.
Okay. So it's possible then that some of your reporting has led to violence?
No.
Mr. Ngo, you're aware that some of your reporting, some of your rhetoric online.
Really nice to see this. By the way, breaking news, Karen Bass in LA has won. Congratulations to Karen Bass. A hard-earned and historic victory. Bad night for people who didn't want Karen Bass to win, including Jank and Anna, and of course, Katy Perry. Katy Perry is not having a great time. She does have that weird military music video. Also, what is going on in that music video? That is Katy Perry, right? That one that's like making the rounds right now? After the defendant was found not guilty, Andy Ngo complained about the outcome and begged his followers for yet more donations to fund his ongoing frivolous legal harassment of leftists. Ngo has been accused of using legal funds to fund a lavish lifestyle of international travel. That's what he does. He's even sent out like little mailers to people, older people in the community, to get them really scared about crime, so they donate to him directly and just do this whole like, I was a victim of a brutal attack, cement milkshakes, silicone rods flying at my face. Andy Ngo's defeat in court today is the latest in a string of embarrassing legal losses for the right-wing grifter. Mr. Andy Ngo has been known to threaten journalists to expose his lies with frivolous legal action, with sometimes hilarious results. Witness the evolution of Mr. Ngo's fake handset.
The editor-in-chief, as well as the other people involved in making the decision to fire me, just use the SPJ
Marking 14, thank
as
you.
an excuse, really, for political correctness. I've attended mandatory training on social justice and media, and I've been taught about factoring in power dynamics of people.
Portland, Oregon is a extremely progressive city in the Pacific Northwest of the U.S. And I call it a political monoculture because really it's not just you're more likely to find socialists, open socialists there than you would find like a regular Republican or conservative. And within this sort of echo chamber of just leftist politics, it's become also a hotbed for far left militancy.
I mean, it's one of those things, kind of like J.J. McCullough's. Is he actually saying the aboot? We don't have any actual direct evidence of it, but it is sus, certainly suspect. In a defining moment of today's trial, the defense team caught Andy Ngo in a blatant lie under oath, a lie which contradicted what Ngo himself told police the day of the incident. Mr. Andy Ngo found out his lies don't work in the courtroom in the same way they work on Twitter.
He mentioned something about my reporting on Twitter, and he was furious. He also said something about breaking vertebrae bones, which I mean, that was when it became really scary. I didn't know what was in this individual's mind.
You testified under oath today that Mr. Hacker made some comment about breaking vertebra, and that's when you got really scared.
Yes.
That's your testimony today, under oath.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You told something completely different to the police, didn't you?
No.
You told the police that Mr. Hacker made several statements, including, do you know someone had their vertebra broken?
Predict what I said under oath.
That doesn't contradict what you said. You said under oath that he said a comment about breaking vertebra, and that's what made you really scared.
I didn't.
Oh, wow. Amazing. So good. Yeah, eventually the lies, they do stack up.
Remember the full quote.
Okay, so you don't remember.
What I remembered was something about breaking vertebrae.
Okay, so you just misremembered the quote. When you testified.
I didn't
earlier.
misremember the quote because I didn't quote him. I said the words used were something about breaking vertebrae.
And you said that specifically made you very scared.
Jank apologizes. I was wrong. Rick Caruso lost. I really hope I'm also wrong about Karen Bass and that she's a great mayor. I hope she does an amazing job of fixing LA. If history is any guide, she won't. Establishment Democrats never take any action. Mayor Bass, please prove me wrong. Like, did you think the right-wing real estate billionaire was going to make life better? I don't get this.
Yes.
But you would agree that that is taken totally out of context.
No, I don't agree with that.
You told police that his statement was about someone else having their vertebra broken. He was upset with your reporting.
No. I quoted to police what I recalled him saying that day.
Okay. You would agree that your recollection was better on that day than it is today?
Probably.
Especially in light of the fact that, as you just testified, you've had a brain hemorrhage.
Yes. You mentioned something.
That's so glorious, this whole clip. Like, you can't really correct Andy Ngo on his lies in real time. I mean, you can on Twitter, I guess. There's been times when I've just straight up, like, posted the correction to what he said, or pointed out the fact that, like, hey, did you know that the mass shooter of yesterday, the far-right extremist, actually is one of your reply guys, and then block right away. So it's really nice to see in a courtroom, not being able to see Andy Ngo, like, squirm away from this, have them actually, like, grill him on this issue, find out he actually contradicts his official statement in real time in 4K, and then blames the whole thing on the brain bleed.
Testified, you've had a brain hemorrhage.
Yes.
Well, I too would blame the silicone rod if it had struck me in such a way. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demmel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tal, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.